Hello everyone and welcome to the Kiki London YouTube channel. My name's Amanda and in today's video we're going to go for quite a colourful design. I thought seeing as the weather was nice and sunny, it was a good time to get out the colourful gel polishes and do a really fun colourful set. So I hope you all enjoy watching. I am working on display tips today and I'm going to start off by coming in with number 2 from the new coloured rubber bases. So there is a swatch video up of the rubber colour bases on the Kiki London channel, so I will leave that linked below. But today I wanted to use number 2, which is a really sweet soft pink. Now this is one of the more natural slash sheerer colours in the collection, so if you want quite a natural colour, this is a great one to use. One coat of this is a very soft, however the coverage does build up when you apply that second layer of colour. This is what's really versatile about the rubber bases, the coloured rubber bases. There is a colour for everyone because you are able to use these in either 1 or 2 coats. So if you want a more natural look, you can use one, and if you want a more full-on pigmented look, you can either use 2 coats of certain colours, or there are colours in the collection that are a little bit more opaque. Now I'm just going to apply 2 coats of these, as we are going to be using this effectively as the first layer for our base coat and the second layer for that pop of pink colour. So I'm going to cure each coat for 30 seconds. So as you can see, that first coat is just a nice subtle hint of pink. I really love this with one coat on natural nails. It kind of gives off that look of you're not really wearing anything on your nails, but it helps cover any little imperfections you might have, and also gives just a nice natural look to the nails. Really, it's a really pretty colour. As you can see, when you come in and apply that second coat of colour, you get a little bit more pigmentation, and it's a really soft pretty pink. I quite like this one for the springtime because it's nice and soft. It's not too in your face and it's not too opaque. So I'm just applying each layer as fairly thin. I applied the first layer quite thin, and when I am applying these on to natural nails, I like to really scrub on the first coat of colour, and then I float on the second coat. I like to have my second coat ever so slightly thicker because I do my first coat really thin and really scrub it in to the natural nail plate. I do have a couple of videos up on the channel of using the rubber bases on natural nails, so I will leave those linked below. Once you've applied your second coat of colour and you're happy with it, you can pop this in to cure. I'm going to cure each layer for 30 seconds. And then we're going to apply some foils. So I'm taking my Kiki London foil gel, and I just want to apply the foil to roughly half of the nail. It doesn't need to be perfect or neat. You just want to make sure that you've got an even application. I'm not worried about creating a perfect line with the foil gel or anything. I just want to make sure that I've got roughly half of that nail covered. Keeping this fairly thin because you don't want to add too much bulk, and you really don't need to add a thick layer of this. Once I have got this applied, I'm going to pop it in to cure for 30 seconds. And then for our foils, I'm going to take the box foil, which is the coloured metallics, I think these are called. I'll double check and leave them below. And I'm going to be using the blue, the pinky purple, the bronze and the green. So on the first nail, we're going to come in with the blue. And what I want to do is I just want to tap on a little bit of this. I want to have the main section in the middle of the nail and then just a little bit on either side. You're not actually going to see a lot of these foils. We're going to be coming over the top with some marbles, but I wanted it to have that kind of hidden look, so you're going to see a little bit of that foil popping through the marble. And then when you wear designs like these on your own nails, or when you do them on clients' nails, they're the kind of nails that really reflect in the light. Every now and then that foil is going to catch the light and it gives that pop of sparkle, and I just think these kind of designs look really pretty. This particular design was inspired a little bit by Isabel May Nails on Instagram. She did a set with gold leaf and marbles underneath, but I wanted to do different colours, so that was why I opted to use foils. Moving on from the foils, we're going to jump to the marbles. And for the marbles, I'm going to be using the Neon Pastel collection. These colours are absolutely beautiful, and it seems like it's been a while since we've got to use bright colours on the Kiki London channel, as we've had a lot of Christmas and winter nails. So I'm glad to finally be breaking out some brights. Now for my marbles, I'm going to use my detail brush to apply them because I don't want to apply it too thickly. Usually I would use my round brush. And then I'm also going to be using the regular Kiki London base coat to act like a blooming gel. So for the blue nail, we're going to be using Holiday Blues, Limelight and Glow Stick. So I'm going to place those three colours down on my palette, and then taking my dotting tool, I'm going to just swirl through them. I didn't want to create a too defined marble, so I went back through it. I want the colours to kind of just look quite soft and just melt onto the nail. If you want a more defined marble, I did do one in the previous video, and you'll just see I just swirl through it slightly differently. The great thing about marbles is you can create so many different effects with them. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my base coat and I just applied this to half of the nail. Now, throughout the rest of the nails, I do apply the base coat to the entire nail. I think because I found that the marble bloomed a lot better at the edges if you applied the base coat to the entire nail. But I do fix it up. You'll see what we do. But then all I'm doing is I'm picking up my marble using that detail brush and just running it around the foils. I did find that this is why I decided to use the detail brush, because I did find that the marble did end up running a little bit too much over the foil. I do only want a little bit of the foil to show through, so it doesn't matter too much, but you will see on certain nails I do clean up around the foil area a little bit, just so you are still able to see a little bit of that foil. And then because I wanted it to have that layered effect, we do pop a tiny bit more foil over the top as well. So as you can see here, I just really loved how the marble showed over the top of the foil. You kind of just got that foil peeking through, and it gave off a really pretty effect. I've not really done anything like this before, so it's definitely something I want to play around with and do a little bit more. Because the marble hadn't really bloomed very much or spread out very much at the edge of the nail, I'm just helping that using the tip of my detail brush, because I didn't want there to be a harsh line where the marble ended. I then did come in with a little bit more of that base coat just to help it bloom out a little bit, and this is why on the other nails I decided to apply a little bit more base coat so it all melted into our pink base a little bit better. Now, whenever I do anything like marbles, I always cure them for 60 seconds, even though the gel polishes only need a 30-second cure. When you've applied them in a marble way, sometimes they can be a little bit thick in areas, so I like to do a 60-second cure just to make sure that has fully cured. Onto the green nail, we're going to be using Limelight, Glow Stick and Peach Side. I really loved how these three colours looked together. So again, on this one, I'm going to apply that base coat to the entire nail, but keeping it nice and thin. You don't want a thick layer. All of that base coat is doing is helping the marble bloom out and fade into that pink base. So I'm just picking up small amounts of the marble at a time and just running it over and around that foil, helping it spread out again still at the edge of the nail there, just so it doesn't look too harsh. And you see, because we've marbled through the colours a fair bit, you haven't got too defined lines, which was what I quite liked for this effect. I wanted it to look quite soft. And I love that hint of foil just poking through. It also gives off a little bit of a gemstone. You could do this effect if you wanted to do gemstone nails as well. You probably just wouldn't use the neon colours. Moving on to the nail where we applied our orangey bronze foil, I'm going to take Coral Bay, Peach Side and Chick Flick. This has a full-on summer vibe, this particular nail, I think, due to these three colours. So again, swirling through them quite a lot so they merge together a little bit more. Applying that thin layer of base coat. And then again, just picking up our detail brush and swirling through that. This one had a little bit of a different effect because this foil had a more matte effect to it compared to the other metallics in the metallic collection. But I quite liked the look that it gave off. And I did find on this one we had a little bit more of the foil showing through as well, which is one of the things I love about doing sets like this, because although you're doing the same design on each nail, they all end up looking ever so slightly different. You don't want to play around with your marbles too much because the colours are quite similar, so they very easily will mix together depending on the colours you're using. Obviously, I wanted to keep with the colour theme for each nail, but when you are using colours like this where they are very similar, it's very easy for them to mix together, so you don't want to play around with them when they're on the nail too much. And as soon as you're happy with that marble, you want to get it in to cure, even if you only do a flash cure. So if you was working on clients, you wouldn't want to individually cure each nail for 60 seconds, but you could do a 10-second flash cure just to freeze and hold that marble in place so that it doesn't start running or merging together too much. But obviously, because I'm working on display tips, I'm able to just cure each one for the full 60 seconds. But if I was doing this on myself, rather than curing each nail individually, I would just do a 10-second flash cure, and then once I've done all of the nails, all of the marbles on all of the nails, I would pop my hand in for a full 60-second cure. So on this one particular, I did feel as though a lot of the foil ended up hidden. So all I did was I cleaned the gel polish off of my detail brush. I just wiped off a lot of that excess, and then I was just running through it until I could remove some of that marble so that we could see just a little bit of that foil poking through. I then decided to just take a little bit of alcohol just so I could remove a little bit more, because I really wanted you guys to be able to see that purple foil showing through. It did end up a little bit tricky cleaning up, so it's always better to apply your marbles a little bit at a time. Here we have the nails now that all of the marbles are done. Now I want to add a hint more of the foils. So rather than applying any more of the foil gel, I'm just going to very lightly tap on my foils over the tacky layer that's left from the base coat and the marbles that we've applied, just because you're only going to get a tiny bit of transfer. I didn't, if you'd have added more foil gel, we would have got too much coverage with the foils. I just wanted a really little hint, so I'm just using, like I said, that tacky layer and a little bit of pressure, and you'll get a little bit more transfer from the foils, and it really helps with that layered effect. I didn't want to add too much because we wanted to keep everything quite soft and layered, and if I'd add too much foil, it would have ended up covering too much of the marble. But just that little bit helps bring the dimension and layers to the nail. So I'm going to do that on all of the nails. I especially liked taking a little bit of the foil up onto that soft pink base area as well. It helps blend and bring everything all together. And then on top of the foils and the marbles, I want to do a little bit of hand painting. I do prefer hand painting over a matte base. So I'm going to take the Kiki London No White Matte Top Coat and apply a thin layer of this to all of the nails. I thought these looked absolutely amazing matte. So I was torn between leaving them matte or going glossy. I did end up going glossy because I wanted those foils to shine through, but I did love how they looked matte. So I have left a little clip of for you guys to see what they look like matte. If I was doing these without the hand painting, I think I would have left them matte, and I think it would have been quite a fun salon friendly design. But I did just want to add a little something extra over the top. But you'll see here how gorgeous do they look matte. I think they look amazing. I especially liked the orange and the pink with that matte top coat. So now for our hand painting, I'm going to take coconut, and I'm going to use this on my Kiki London nail art palette. I'm really loving the palettes. I think this white one is my favourite. And then to do my hand painting, I'm going to take the stripe liner brush. So I'm going to load up my stripe liner brush. I run the stripe liner brush through the gel polish a few times just to make sure that the bristles are nicely coated with the gel polish, and then I wipe off some of the excess. And then we're going to keep the hand painting fairly simple. I'm just going to draw on some leaves. So I've started off with the stem, and then I'm just doing some really simple leaves. I love these kind of leafy floral designs over a kind of hectic nail art base. So where we've got the marbles and the foils, there is a lot going on in the background. So I like to keep the hand painting quite simple. You see some really nice stenciled flowers and tropical leaves and things like that. I did leave it fairly simple. I didn't go too exciting because I still need to get some more practice in with hand painting. It's not one of my strong points. If, however, you wanted to maybe do this in a salon and you were pressed for time, or you're not confident yourself with hand painting, you could come over the top and do these leaves or flowers with some water decals or some stamping or even some foils. A lot of the, for example, the Kiki London floral foils, they have some lovely greenery and florals on them that you could press over the top as well, and I think that would look quite pretty. So I'm going to try and do my leaves in different places on each nail. I only showed you guys 2 because it pretty much is exactly the same on all 4 nails. So I didn't want to bore you all. But you'll see I just simply do the leaves by going from one side and then the other side and then filling in the center. You can then always make them longer or make the tips a little bit more pointed. And then once I've done all the leaves, I just draw on some little flicks in between just to bulk it out a little bit. This is quite optional, just depending on how you want the design to look. You could just leave it with the leaves, or you could pop on a lot more leaves if you wanted to. That's the thing about nail art, it's all down to what you or your client wants. So have fun and have a little play around. I love working with the stripe liner brush for these particular designs because of how thin it is, but you could also do this with your detail brush if you didn't have the stripe liner brush in your collection, but the stripe liner brush is my absolute favourite. So once I'd done these leaves on all 4 of the nails, I did pop these in for a full 30-second cure. The Kiki London gel polishes do only require a 30-second cure in an LED lamp. If you are using a UV lamp, then I would advise a 2-minute cure. And again, if you're not using the Kiki London lamp, you may have to play around with the cure times. So this is what they looked like once I'd done that on all 4 of the nails, and this is where I was really torn with, do I just come over with another layer of matte or do I go in and make them glossy? I did decide to do them glossy, so I'm going to take the no wipe rubber top coat. I opted for the rubber top coat because the nails did feel a little bit uneven where we've got the different layers due to the marble and then the hand painting on top. So where the no wipe rubber top coat is a little bit thicker, it really helps smooth everything out. So I'm going to apply a thin layer of this to all of the nails, and then the rubber top coat does require a 60-second cure. So once I had applied this layer, I popped these in to cure for 60 seconds, and then I have left a clip and a photo at the end with the finished result for you guys. Do let me know in the comments below if there's anything you want to see, any particular techniques or any particular designs, or if there's a design you've seen and you'd like to see how I would recreate it. Let me know below. I'm really open to suggestions. I hope you all enjoyed watching today's video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up or pop a comment below. And if you aren't already subscribed, I would love it if you'd hit that subscription button. I upload videos on the Kiki London channel every single Friday, so hopefully I'll see you all again next week. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Take care, lots of love. Bye bye.